Ahead of the Packers showdown with the Chicago Bears, each team getting healthier. The difference is, for the Packers, their players coming back just matter more.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the number one Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened, they want to know why and how, thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour and every Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern. Lily Zhao joins us on the show today to pick out some kernels from that Vikings game in Week 18. If there's anything that matters in there, maybe a little Trayvon Diggs, maybe a little Barron Sorrell. Also, we look ahead to the playoff game. You know, we can't spend too much time on Week 18. It's the playoffs, for crying out loud. So let's start there. Because it's a Saturday game, Tuesday saw the first injury report. And for the Bears, some encouraging signs. They opened the practice windows for Braxton Jones and Kyler Gordon. Kyler Gordon coming off a slew of soft tissue injuries. He is their slot corner. He is someone who, if Chauncey Gardner-Johnson can't go, would be the only guy, basically, that they have to do that. And CJ Gardner-Johnson is dealing with a concussion. He's in concussion protocol. And it seems like now whether it's the explicit policy of the NFL or just how this has worked out in practice, more players, it seems, are, if you get hurt in a game with a concussion, you miss the next week. Average return to play is, I believe, about 9 days. So the odds of CJ Gardner-Johnson playing this week are pretty small. It seems risky to me for a guy who's missed over a month of time with soft tissue injuries to just rush him back to full bore in a playoff game, but they might not have a choice. Rome Odunze was a limited participant. He's been out and really has been hurt all year with a foot injury, but if he's limited all week, and I would expect that he would be limited all week, I can't imagine, even if he's out there as more than a decoy. And frankly, the fewer snaps that and targets you're giving to Luther Burden and Colston Loveland in this offense right now, to me, the better. Because I would be much more worried about those matchups for the Packers than someone like Rome Odunze. That's not to say he's not a good player and couldn't be a factor. But that's one of those where it's like, are you actually hurting the team by being out there and just being a decoy? I don't know. Like, he's not Julio Jones. When Julio Jones would go out and be a decoy, you still had to worry about Julio Jones. No one's that worried about Rome Odunze, who has not been particularly good playing hurt all season. Now, they also got Braxton Jones back practicing. He was actually a full participant in practice. Whether or not that's going to be something that actually turns out to work for them. Ozzie Trapillo is someone who's also working his way back. Apparently he was close last week. That would certainly help. But this offensive line is already awesome. They're already really good. The problem is that Caleb Williams is an inconsistent passer. He's just an inconsistent thrower of the football. And if you bring more bodies than they can block, it doesn't matter. And that was something that the Lions were able to do last week. You bring heavy pressure. Is Caleb going to be able to sort it out? Is he going to be able to see where the pressure is coming from? Is he going to be able to make the right plays and the right reads? Had a huge intentional grounding in the game because he all of a sudden came off play action. There's a guy in his face and he just stepped up and threw it. He's still a frenetic player, even with good blocking. So there are going to be opportunities for the Packers to take advantage. The reason I said at the top that the Packers' injuries and the guys that they're getting back matter more is because Zach Tom is expected to play this week, according to Matt LaFleur. Dontavian Wicks was back practicing. It's nice if you're the Bears to get Kyler Gordon back. You're not going to have Christian Watson cooking you in the slot every single time. But Christian Watson was cooking Jalen Johnson as an outside player. And then you still have to deal with Jaden Reed in the slot. And then if Dontavian Wicks comes back, you still got to deal with him. And then you got to deal with Romeo Doubs and Matthew Golden. And Josh Jacobs is coming back, not even on the injury report with a designation. This version of the Packers is the one that really blew out the Lions, that handled, for the most part, the Chicago Bears. And you go back and watch that first game, the Packers scored 28 points. It could have been 40. Pretty easily could have been 40 in that game. There are open receivers every single time Jordan Love drops back, usually multiple open receivers every single time Jordan Love drops back. And so if you have time to throw, if you have Zach Tom out there, and they did not have Zach Tom for that Bears game, you're going to be in a really good position. Sorry, they didn't have Zach Tom for the second Bears game. This is a situation where we've seen what this offense can do. And this offense, in the first half, they blocked up the Denver Broncos pass rush. And Jordan Love, I've said this all year, the number one quarterback in the NFL from a clean pocket. He's also been one of the most efficient and effective quarterbacks, top 3 all season against the blitz. Carved up Dennis Allen's blitz the first time around. And then in the red zone, they had some red zone issues against the Broncos, against the Bears the second time. Now, that was a lot of Malik Willis. There was some Jordan Love in there too. But if you can block, it makes it a lot easier to score in the red zone because Jordan Love's going to have more time. If you can block, it makes it a lot easier for Josh Jacobs to get in the end zone. If Josh Jacobs is healthy, he probably doesn't fumble inside the 5-yard line. This Packers team, when Josh Jacobs is anything close to healthy and the offensive line is anything close to healthy, now it's not a good run blocking offensive line, but in goal line situations, it's why it's weird that in like 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, they're not good. But in those goal to go situations, this team is money because Josh Jacobs is just a touchdown machine. He finds the end zone. And so for the Packers, it's not that, Josh Jacobs and Zach Tom are so much better players than Rome Odunze and Kyler Gordon. It's that what their health does for Green Bay is a force multiplier in a way that it's not, especially for Kyler Gordon on defense, because it doesn't matter if you have your full secondary, because the pass rush stinks and the linebackers are extremely vulnerable in coverage. And so this Packers offense had plenty of answers for this version of the defense, albeit without Gordon, but with Jalen Johnson, Montez Sweat is out there, Kevin Byard out there. All these guys are the guys that are going to be playing. It's not that different. And I understand Rome, didn't play in those other games. They struggled to score points in both games. In both games, 21 points in the first game, 22 points, and they needed overtime to get to 22, 16 in regulation, 9 before the onside kick. How big a deal, like Rome Odunze, like Puka Nacua is a guy who moves the line a touchdown. Rome Odunze, not. He's not. But for the Packers, having Zach Tom to protect Jordan Love, we said this yesterday, Jordan Love can win you a game by himself in the playoffs. The number 1 offense by EPA per play when he's the quarterback. And I went back and looked from week 11, so post-Eagles game through when he got hurt. This wasn't just the best passing offense in football by EPA per play. They were at .398 EPA per play, which would be like, if it would be basically the greatest EPA season in NFL history if a quarterback had that for an entire season. It's amazing how efficient they were. That's the version of the offense in terms of the personnel who are going to be available to Green Bay that are coming on the field against A bad defense, down to down, play to play, a not good defense, whether they have Kyler Gordon or not. That is the biggest reason why I picked them in each of the last 2 games against the Bears, because this offense, they can be so much, they can be by far the best unit on the field. Let's talk to our pal Lily Zhao more next on Locked On Packers. Hey guys, draft pick positions are set and so many teams are looking for their franchise quarterback. Packers have theirs. Ever wish to become a pro quarterback getting drafted first overall by the Packers? Well, now you can. It's a mobile game just for you. It's called Ultimate QB Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of the number 1 draft pick, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness, to help turn a flailing franchise into a dynasty. It's the number 1 QB career mode game on the mobile app store, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career control. Sign contracts, train and upgrade yourself, build chemistry and evolve your teammates, give input on roster moves, play the actual game in 2D, and rise to the ranks to become a pro football legend. You'll deal with the ups and downs of a QB career, from rookie nerves to playoff drama, and every choice shapes your journey. Ultimate QB is totally free to play, has no ads, and works 100% offline. Perfect for when you want to sneak in a quick game or two, maybe on an airplane, maybe on the subway. Just head over to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com, or search for Ultimate QB in the App Store. And we've got something special for you guys. Use the promo code LOCKEDON in all caps in the game store to get a free boost to start your career. Ultimate QB Football Legend. QB1, it's your legacy. Today's episode also brought to you by our friends at ZocDoc. Finding a doctor you actually like can feel like discovering a diamond in the rough. You want someone in network, nearby, with availability, but you also want a doctor who really listens, makes you feel comfortable, explains things clearly, and helps you walk out feeling confident about your next step. Your diamond in the rough doctor exists, and finding them is easy with ZocDoc. I did this a couple months ago. I was dealing with some health issues, and I wanted to see a nutritionist. I found one on my insurance who could do virtual visits. We could just get on Zoom and go. And they had great reviews. You get to read the reviews. And then they scheduled it in the app. It's a beautiful thing. Appointments usually happen within 24 to 72 hours. And they can even make same day appointments. If you need to book care fast, this is the first place I do go. Not I would go, I do go. It just makes the process simple. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. Before we get to Lily, thanks for being an everydayer. Thanks for being our Locked On Packers everydayer and making Locked On the number 1 sports podcast network. But if you are the kind of person that knows today is Lily Zhao Day, why not be an everydayer? Why not join our everydayer club? Get ad-free audio access on whatever platform you like, and an invite to a members-only Discord channel. None of the drama of some of the other social media platforms, just hardcore Packer fans. So go to lockedonpackers.supercast.com to learn more. Week 18, thankfully behind us. We don't have to see Clayton Tune anymore, at least God willing, this season for the Green Bay Packers. Luckily, we do get to see our pal Lily Zhao from Fox 6 in Milwaukee to answer the 2026 question for the very first time. Lily, how you doing?
Blessed to be with you, Peter, and with these lovely folks that watch and listen. So with that, that's a great start to 2026. So I am doing fantastic as always. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad that we're in a new year. I'm glad that the Packers are in the playoffs and we get that to talk about. Let's go back in time though first, and let's see if we can find something to talk about from Week 18. Is there anything that you felt like was relevant from that game? Not like long term even. I'm talking about this week, like something that happened in that game or a player or something where you go, okay, that's interesting as we move toward the playoffs.
I mean, outside of Daniel Whelan flipping the field, which we've known.
Yeah.
I think Barron Sorrell stepping up could be big in Chicago. They're going to need all hands on deck on defense. I thought he played a really nice game and took advantage of his reps. Outside of that, it was Slim Pickens. It was Slim Pickens, literally.
You're right. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
First time we've seen Trayvon Diggs. He's a guy who could potentially start. I think he had 30 plus coverage snaps and played as well as you possibly could after being with the team for a couple days. So those are kind of the takeaways I took. Just not much going.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's really much else to even bring up when it comes to that game. I think you hit it, though. The Trayvon Diggs thing is interesting to me. Like, were you surprised when after the game, like immediately after the game, Matt LaFleur was like I'm not going to, he did not rule out starting Trayvon Diggs in this game against the Bears. That was surprising to me. Were you surprised?
I was, Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, Bo Melton playing both ways. You have those guys at corner. Everybody else is injured. But Trayvon Diggs is a guy who has played, and when he has been great, he's been really good. And so with the struggles this cornerback group has had, I don't fault him for saying we could have Trayvon starting on Saturday against the Bears or against whoever they were playing. So that wasn't surprising, but I am just happy that they have a body back there at that position.
Yeah. Speaking of bodies, it sounds like Zach Tom, Christian Watson, Josh Jacobs, Evan Williams, the guys that had been out. The Denver game was so harmful for the Packers from an injury standpoint. Of course, Micah Parsons will not be back. Of that group, and Jordan Love also coming, out of the Bears game. Of that group, is there someone? I mean, I know we did this 6 weeks ago, but is there someone where you go, okay, getting that guy healthy is really just huge for this team?
I would say outside of Jordan Love, I know my pick has been Zach Tom.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Zach Tom and Josh Jacobs. I think those are the two guys that I think need to really step up. I think for the Packers to win and just not have Jordan Love get injured, Zach Tom being back is massive. I think that'll be a great help. And then on the other end, the Bears are going to run the football. Can the Packers counter? I think it's going to be a really big game for Josh Jacobs and company. Again, he has not been healthy all year long. It's been a struggle running the ball, but if he can match their intensity, I think that'll be key. So I think those two guys, but I think more importantly, Zach Tom being back will be huge.
Yeah, and let's not forget, the Packers lost that Bears game in part because Josh Jacobs fumbles on first down inside the 5-yard line. They have been automatic inside the 5 precisely because they've had Josh Jacobs, and it felt like Jacobs exited that game in part because he was not healthy. Like the fumble seemed like it was a part and parcel of the injury where you're so worried about the knee that you can't be as focused as you need to be on ball security. So getting him back, if he is healthier, like he's going to play, right? Like this is not, even if he's less than 100%, we've seen that. But he also made the key play in the first Packers-Bears game, right? Like that run at the end ultimately helps create the difference in the game for Green Bay. So I don't think the Josh Jacobs piece can be underrated or understated here at all. What feels different about you or up to you about this matchup from the last time we saw it? Anything?
It's the fact that if the Packers don't beat themselves, this is a winnable game. We've known it all year long. Again, I will credit how well this defense played back in week 16 for 58 minutes. Yep. The last 2 minutes, throw that out the window.
Yeah.
For how well they contained this Bears run game and without Micah Parsons, can't be understated, but they need that same sort of effort. But again, they always find a way to beat themselves. They can't close out games. And listen, against a Bears team, you want this game down to 0-0 because with how well the Bears have played in the fourth quarter, it's going to be another fourth quarter clash. It's can the Packers finish? Can they not beat themselves? But what I've learned thus far outside of the injuries is this is still a good Packers team. If they don't beat themselves, it's a winnable game for Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't think I'll take it a step further, Lily. If the Packers don't beat themselves, they will win. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that the Packers play well, that they win by a touchdown or more. I just think there is a different level that this Packers team, even without Micah Parsons, can get to. And if they don't go 0 for 5 in the red zone against the Bears the first time, if they just go 1 for 5, they win, right? And so that to me, that again, that's the Josh Jacobs point. That's the Jordan Love healthy point because Malik Willis was the architect of some of those red zone trips. And for as good as Malik Willis has been, he's not Jordan Love. And so that part is very interesting to me. I don't know what the fix is. Like that seems to me like if you're going to change one thing about how the games went the last time around and how this team has looked over the last couple of weeks, it's got to be the red zone, right?
Absolutely. That's been the difference, especially in those losses. It starts in Denver, 1-4.
Yep.
Chicago, 0-5. I mean,
Crazy.
again, the Chicago game was just so much different because they were as close as you can get to the end zone and they couldn't punch the ball in.
Yeah.
The red zone has kind of been their Achilles heel in those losses. And that really needs to change. Again, to beat Chicago, like you mentioned, you got to punch the football in. We've seen how lethal this Bears offense can be. If it's a down night for the defense, you need Jordan Love at this offense to respond drive for drive like the Niners did in that Bears-Niners game. So I think it's going to be super important they finish in the red zone. If not, they're going home. That's just the reality of it.
We saw the Lions. I mean, the Lions could have easily won on Sunday by 10 or more had they been more efficient in the red zone. They had a turnover. They had some drives stall out. I mean, Jared Goff, 330 passing yards. If you had told me before the game he was going to have 330 passing yards against the Bears, I'd have said they probably score 30 points. And, they're struggling to get to 20, right? So the Packers cannot follow that same blueprint. And that is a Matt LaFleur thing, right? Like he's got to call the right plays. He's got to get them in the right positions. I think it is correct to say no one has more pressure on them from a legacy standpoint in this game than Matt LaFleur. Can you think of someone else? Would you put someone else in that conversation?
Not right now. I think there's a lot of pressure on Matt LaFleur to win. You have a change in leadership with Ed Policy. Again, this is the third straight year you've been the number 7 seed. You'll only have one playoff win to show for it. You had top 2 seeds when Aaron Rodgers was your quarterback and you couldn't get to the big dance at the very end. There's a lot of pressure on him to win. And whether or not that determines what his coaching fate will be, we shall see. But I think a lot rides on Matt LaFleur because, again, at the end of the day, it's a Packers-Bears game. There's going to be a lot of chatter in the offseason, a lot of chatter between both franchises about who wins and who loses. And I think for him, they've got to win on Saturday. Matt LaFleur needs to call a brilliant game, all gas, no brakes. I think a lot is on his shoulders, and hopefully, he calls a good game and his players execute.
All right, let's really dig into the Chicago Bears next with Lily Zhao. The wild card round is here and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting inside the app. Each game day, you'll take a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like the most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. The boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet on something new. Every play feels bigger and the boosts make your bet feel that way too. You make the picks, then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. We've seen him do it, right? We've seen him in playoff games, especially when, they're considered the inferior team. I don't even know that that's the case this week. Like they are technically the favorites, which is pretty crazy for a 2-7. But, our friends at FanDuel watched the games. They saw these two teams play and they saw the Packers be the better team, even with Malik Willis for 3 quarters. In both of those games, it was just in both games, the Packers could have scored 40 in the first game, but they let some drives get away from them in the second half, let the Bears get back in it. And so I do think, Lily, the run game is more important this week than it had been, simply because they were able to score quickly against Chicago. But then by the end of the game, all of a sudden the defense is on the field for like 35, 40 minutes. And yeah, you're scoring effectively on offense, but your defense is getting gassed. And so I feel like that's going to be a key here. It's not going to be freezing cold, but it's going to be cold. And so you're going to need this run game, I think, to play a factor in just possessing the ball for the Packers. You don't have to take the air out of it, but just possess the ball if you're Green Bay.
Absolutely. And, if it comes down to we need to get a first down to win, you need them to also come through. I think it's huge. I think they need to control the clock. Again, the defense can play well for 50 minutes, but if the last 10, they're dog tired and they can't get after the Bears. Again, this is a Bears team that thrives in the fourth quarter. You can't let them have that chance. I think the run game will be really important. They haven't really been getting it going. Again, Josh Jacobs not 100%, but the last couple of weeks it's been tough. And they need to control the clock. They got to keep that Bears offense on the field, keep their defense fresh. I think a lot rides on this offense and guys blocking up front and Josh Jacobs to make something happen. I think that's going to be the key, the red zone, and don't turn the ball over.
Given the way Jordan Morgan has played the last couple of weeks, would you be willing to make a change at offensive line if you're Matt LaFleur?
I think right now, maybe not. But that being said, I think he still plays very well at the tackle position. Yeah, there were a couple of plays where he kind of whiffed, his assignment on Sunday. But at the end of the day, I think he's a really good tackle. But I think for now, you keep it how it is unless, it's just not working up front.
I think it at least allows you to have a quicker hook, right? If there are issues.
Yes, exactly.
And that, that's valuable, right? Like, to this Matt LaFleur question, there is certain sections of the fan base that are ready to move on. I don't think that's fair personally, but if you were to just let's put the hot seat on a 1 to 10 scale, based on what you think is going to happen, not what you would do necessarily. I can ask you that in a second. How warm on a scale of 1 to 10 do you think Matt LaFleur's seat is right now, this minute?
Right now, this minute, I'm going to say a 5.
Okay.
I think if he loses, it's a 6.5.
So when you say 6.5, are you saying, I think it's more likely than not that they would move on, or just that now all of a sudden there are real questions about his path moving forward?
I would say the latter. I don't think, even if they lose in the first round, I don't think it's to the level of his seat is on fire or is he going to be let go? But I think he will be put on notice next season. Absolutely. And beyond that, who knows? But I think this is a really good opportunity for Matt LaFleur to show Ed policy. This is why I deserve an extension. This is why I deserve to be your coach for the next couple of years and beyond. So Saturday is going to be a big showcase for him as well. But right now, I think the seat is lukewarm. I think it's very tepid waters right now.
Okay. So if it were a bath, you'd go, this is not warm enough.
Not warm enough.
This is like pool water, maybe.
Pool water.
Florida pool. Not if you have a pool right now in Wisconsin, it would be very, very cold.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's covered and all those things too. This offense with the pass catchers, I know there's been a lot of discussion about Matthew Golden over the last couple of weeks, and Dontavian Wicks, it sounds like, has a chance to come back this week, but Christian Watson has been the guy, and he was the guy against the Bears the first time around. Is this a week where you just say you just got to ride your best guys? Is there a changeup coming? What do you think is going to be the approach this week? Because you don't have Tucker Kraft, so that has sort of streamlined the offense and allowed them to feature Christian Watson a little bit more. But presumably the Bears know that. They did not have a very good plan the first time, and we didn't get to see the plan the second time, Lily, because Jordan Love didn't play. So that makes this a little tricky for me. But is this a game where you feel like for the passing game to be at their best, it has to be a big Christian Watson game?
I think it would help. I don't think it needs to be per se, but I think if you can stretch out this defense like they did in that game at Lambeau with explosive play after explosive play, again, that's advantage Packers. They have a really dynamic passing game. I think this will be a good redemption game for Romeo Doubs once they get him involved. I think Jaden Reed could play a valuable piece in there as well. And so I think, for them to really be good, they have to lean on the passing game. But that being said, still have a good enough running game where, again, you're not scoring in 2 minutes, even though that would be nice. It's got to be a very balanced attack, but when it counts, they have to make it count in the passing game. But I think if Matthew Golden if Christian Watson is having a big night, I mean, that really is 99% Packers win, in my opinion.
I agree. No, I 100% agree. I would not be surprised if on the first drive they call 3 plays for Romeo Doubs. Just from because that Matt LaFleur kind of has that way about him. Mike McCarthy would do that too. Someone fumbles and they come right back to him. He's just an old school football coach like that. And I do think Romeo Doubs is the kind of core player to this team that they would do that for him. If it's not going to be Christian Watson, I feel like Jaden Reed is the guy that has been a bear killer over the years. Had that huge play, 2 years ago in the last game of the season, kind of out of structure. Jordan Love just sort of points him up the field and they create a 70-yard explosive play to set up a scoring opportunity. We haven't seen him be the Jaden Reed that we're used to yet. And I know he's working back from the injury. To me, this is the week against those linebackers, against those slot players. This is the week to see what Jaden Reed can really do in this offense, especially if there's going to be a focused attention on Christian Watson.
Yeah, I kind of want to see the game plan that they had for Jaden Reed against the Eagles in Brazil. That game was, you take away the penalties. It was a great game.
Yeah.
Jaden Reed. So utilize him that way. He is a dangerous playmaker. If they're going to try and, double or triple cover Christian Watson, you got Jaden Reed there. Like he's fast. He'll make it work. And so they need to get those guys involved. And I would love to see another deep shot to Bo Melton because it worked the first time. Why not?
Oh man, you're going to get people online so mad if that happens and it's not Matthew Golden. But it would be fitting, right, for Matthew Golden to finally have that big moment in a game like this. The question I ask you every week, Lily, is if the Packers are going to win, there's going to be a player who is going to be a wild card in all of this, or who is going to be the driver of that success. Taking the Jordan Loves out of it, give me a player who keys the Packers' success this week.
Good question. I'm going to throw a name out there that I don't think I've thrown out this year. It's not a crazy name at all, but Lucas Van Ness. I think if he bring the pressure in the fourth quarter, win Caleb Williams and this Bears offense just seems to find another gear. If he can somehow get to Caleb when he's scrambling, when that's been tough for everybody this year, bring a little pressure in his face, make him, force his throws, make this Bears offense a little out of sync. I think that's going to be huge in the fourth quarter. So I'd say, LVN, bring the pressure.
I love that because without Micah Parsons, they do not have a closer, right? With Micah Parsons, they do. And so you need someone to step up. And let's not forget, Lucas Van Ness. I know he's big and his nickname is Hercules. He's run down Justin Fields multiple times. I know Caleb Williams is fast. Justin Fields is fast too. And he ran down that guy in the open field more than once. And so you need to have guys on the field. Brenton Cox is another guy who's got some speed. Colin Oliver. We might see Colin Oliver just because they need his speed out there. Rashawn Gary is not the fleetest of foot when it comes to pass rushers. So I love that call out. Great shout, Lily. And we will talk to you next week, hopefully, about a Green Bay Packers win.
Love it. Thanks, Peter.
All right. Thanks to Lily for joining the show. Awesome, as always, to talk with her. We've got a squad show tonight, live, 7 p.m. Lambeau time. Coach Jags, Brandon Snyder, our host, our friend Bart Winkler, who you may know from local Milwaukee sports radio. He was a national radio host for a while as well. He's going to join us on the squad show tonight. And then we got our crossover Thursday and a lot more stuff cooking this week. We'll, of course, be live after the game on Saturday night. Thanks for tuning in today to Locked On Packers. Make sure to subscribe and follow for all the latest episodes. Go find it on YouTube, wherever you get podcasts. Follow me on the socials. If you've made it this far into the pod, guess what? You probably are already following me on the socials. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Packers ad-free, plus the members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonpackers.supercasts.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On NFL or the Locked On Packers Squad Show, and stay Locked On Packers.